Uche strolled into the street like a man walking onto his private runway, his loud perfume arriving before he did. Behind him were two of his friends, both holding their phones up to record. Ngozi, Chuka, he called out with a fake smile. I see you both seen the latest news. Quite a shame, isn't it? The crowd in Ajigunle began gathering fast. Market women abandoned their tomatoes. Children ran barefoot to get a better view. Chuka stepped forward, voice calm but firm. Uche, enough of the games. You've tried to ruin my marriage, my name, and my wife's dignity. Now you'll say everything you've been hiding, right here in front of everyone. Uche laughed. Oh, so we're doing this in the street? Fine. I'll remind everyone that this marriage was born from a bet. And you, he pointed at Ngozi, were nothing but a way for him to win a car and land. The crowd gasped. Ngozi held her head high. Yes, at first it was a bet. But let me tell you something, Uche. It takes a real man to admit he was wrong, and it takes a foolish one to keep living like a snake, biting everyone who's happier than him. The crowd roared in agreement. Chuka took a deep breath. Yes, I married Ngozi because of that stupid bet. But Uche, here's the truth. I returned the prize. The car, the land, all gone. Because I don't want them. I only want her. That's more than you, with all your money, will ever understand. The crowd erupted into claps and whistles. Uche's smirk faltered. Return the prize? Why would you do that? Because I won something better and you can't stand it, Chuka replied, his eyes locked on Ngozi. Suddenly, a woman in the crowd shouted, Uche, tell them how you staged that picture. Gasps rippled through the crowd. It was a street photographer, and she was holding her camera up like evidence. I only took those photos because Uche paid me. He told me to make it look romantic. I didn't know it was to destroy someone's marriage. The street exploded in noise, laughter, shouts, insults thrown at Uche. Uche's face burned red. Without another word, he turned and stormed away, swallowed by the noise of the street. Ngozi turned to Chuka, the faintest smile tugging at her lips. Oga Puff Puff, you really return a Rolls Royce for me? Chuka nodded. I give up 10 more. But I can't lose you again. She looked at him for a long moment, then said softly, We'll talk. The next morning, Ajigunle woke up buzzing with curiosity. Word had spread that Ngozi would give her answer today, whether she would take back the billionaire who once married her as a bet. By noon, the street was packed. Women stood with folded arms, men leaned on kiosks, and children sat on rooftops, ready to witness history. Chuka arrived first, wearing the same plain t-shirt and jeans he wore the day he sold Puff Puff beside her. He wasn't carrying flowers or gifts, just himself. Minutes later, Ngozi walked out from her mother's compound. She wore a simple Ankara gown, her hair neatly tied back. She didn't look nervous, just calm, like a woman who had already made up her mind. She stood in front of Chuka, her voice steady. Chuka Maduagwu, you married me as a bet. You broke my trust, and you embarrassed me before the world. But you also came back here without shame, stood in the sun to sell Puff Puff, and faced your friends to defend me. So I have one question for you before I decide. Chuka nodded. Ask me anything. If tomorrow I lose all this fame and go back to selling Puff Puff every day, will you still stand beside me? Without hesitation, Chuka stepped closer and said loud enough for everyone to hear, I'll not just stand beside you. I'll be the one frying them while you collect the money. The crowd burst into laughter and applause. Ngozi's lips curved into a slow smile. She extended her hand. Then come and carry the tray. Oga Puff Puff, your wife is waiting. The street exploded with cheers. Women celebrated, men clapped. Children danced around them. Chuka lifted the tray playfully, and Ngozi slipped her arm through his. For the first time, it wasn't about Bet's pride or proving anything. It was about two people who had chosen each other for real. 3 weeks after their public reconciliation in Ajigunle, Chuka decided it was time to bring Ngozi back to the mansion in Banana Island. The press had calmed down. The gossip blogs had moved on to fresher scandals. But Chuka knew the real challenge wasn't outsiders. It was the inner circle, his business partners, high society friends, and the people who believed Ngozi didn't belong. when their black SUV pulled up to the massive white gates of the estate. Two women walking their dogs slowed down to stare. One of them whispered, loud enough for Ngozi to hear, "She's back? Let's see how long it lasts this time." Ngozi adjusted her ghillie, smiled faintly, and held Chuka's arm tighter. Inside, the mansion gleamed like nothing had changed. But as Ngozi walked to the marble halls, she saw the framed photographs of her wedding day, the expensive gifts, and the polished furniture, and remembered that it was once all part of a bet. Chuka noticed her quietness. "Ngozi, we can leave this place if you want. I don't care about the address, I care about you." "No," she said firmly. "If I ran away before, it was because I didn't know my worth. This time, I'm walking in as your wife, not your bet." That weekend, Chuka hosted a private dinner with some of his wealthiest business partners. Everyone expected Ngozi to sit quietly, smile politely, and let the men talk. But when a foreign investor made a passing joke about street sellers becoming society wives, Ngozi leaned forward and replied in flawless English, "Where I come from, a street seller learns more about profit, loss, and customer loyalty than some boardrooms teach in years. Maybe that's why my husband's company's revenue has doubled since we got married." The table went silent. Then one of the oldest partners chuckled and said, "I like her. She should run one of our divisions." Chuka's chest swelled with pride. That night, as they lay in bed, Chuka whispered, "You didn't just survive here today. Ngozi, you own the room." She smiled in the darkness. "Oga Puff Puff, I've been owning rooms since before you found me. You just didn't know it." It was a bright Saturday morning in Banana Island. Chuka was in his study reviewing contracts, and Ngozi was in the kitchen supervising the chef, making sure the jollof had enough pepper. The security intercom buzzed. "Madam, there's someone here asking for you. Says his name is Fatai." The moment she heard the name, Ngozi froze. The wooden spoon in her hand clattered into the pot. Fatai, the boy she had once loved in Ajigunal. The same boy who disappeared one night with all her savings, leaving her in debt and humiliation. She walked slowly to the front gate. There he was, older, thinner, but with the same sly smile. "Ngozi, you've changed. This place, this life, it suits you." "What do you want, Fat Eye?" she asked, her voice sharp. "I heard you married a billionaire. I just came to congratulate you and maybe remind you a few things from past." Her stomach tightened. She knew what he meant. The debt, the letters she wrote him, the silly dreams they shared. If those old details leaked to gossip blogs, it would be another media circus. Chuka appeared behind her, his presence calm but firm. "And you are—" "An old friend," Fat Eye said with a smile that wasn't friendly at all. "But maybe a friend who needs assistance." Ngozi's heart sank. This wasn't a visit, it was blackmail. Chuka stepped forward, eyes locked on Fat Eye. "If you have something to say to my wife, you'll say it in front of me. If you have something to ask, you'll ask me directly, but you will not threaten her." Fat Eye's smile faded just a little. "We'll see about that. I'll be back." He turned and walked away, leaving a trail of unease behind him. That night, Ngozi sat quietly on the bed. "Chuka, Fat Eye isn't someone you just tell to go away. He's dangerous, and I'm afraid he'll try something worse." Chuka took her hand. "Then let him try. This time we fight together." 2 weeks passed without a sign of Fat Eye, and Chuka began to think maybe the man had simply been bluffing. Ngozi wasn't so sure. She knew his type, the kind who disappeared just long enough to make you drop your guard. Her instincts were right. One Monday morning, Chuka arrived at his Victoria Island office to find his PR team in chaos. Laptops were open, phones were ringing, and everyone's face was pale. The head of PR rushed up to him. "Sir, a video just went viral. It's your wife, in Ajigunal, arguing with a man over money. The caption says she was a street hustler who scammed people before marrying you." Chuka's stomach clenched. He clicked the link, and there it was. Shaky footage of Ngozi years ago, shouting at Fat Eye in the middle of the street, demanding he return her savings. The video had been edited to make it look like she was the one trying to take his money. Within hours, hashtags began trending. Hashtag scammerwife. Hashtag puff puff fraud. Investors started calling. Some were concerned about the company's public image. A few threatened to pull out of deals. That evening, Chuka found Ngozi in the living room, scrolling through her phone. Her eyes were dry, but her voice was heavy. It's him. He wants to ruin us. And if we ignore this, the damage will stick. Chuka paced the room. Then we won't ignore it. But we can't just react emotionally. We have to beat him at his own game and make sure this time there's no comeback. Ngozi's lips tightened. If we're going to fight him, then I need to take you back to Ajigunal. There are things you don't know about Fat Eye. 2 days later, Chuka's convoy rolled quietly into Ajigunal. No flashy cars this time, just one SUV. Ngozi led him through the narrow streets until they reached a small open yard where a group of familiar faces from her past were waiting. Old neighbors, market women, even the security guard from her old compound. All people who had once seen Fat Eye's tricks firsthand. In the center of the gathering, Ngozi spoke clearly. Fat Eye thinks he can rewrite history to ruin me. But all of you were there. You saw what really happened. Today, we speak the truth on camera for the whole world to hear. One by one, they told their stories. How Fat Eye had borrowed money from half the street and never returned it. How Ngozi had worked morning till night selling Puff Puff just to clear the debts he left behind. How the viral video was from the day she confronted him for stealing her savings. By evening, Chuka's media team had compiled every testimony into a single unedited video. They released it online with the caption, "The truth behind the lie #Justice for Ngozi." The internet flipped. Within hours, the same gossip blogs that had mocked her were apologizing. The hashtags changed. #Ngozi the Fighter. #Puff Puff Queen. The next morning, Fat Eye's own past caught up with him. Police arrived at his apartment with multiple fraud reports, some of them freshly filed by the very people who spoke out for Ngozi. By afternoon, he was in handcuffs. That night, back in their Banana Island home, Chuka held Ngozi close. "You didn't just clear your name. Ngozi, you made the whole world see the woman I fell in love with." She smiled faintly. "Oga Puff Puff, you married me for a bet. But in the end, we both won." And as the Lagos night hummed outside, they knew no bet, no scandal. No enemy could shake what they had built together. The end. If you like more interesting stories like this, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, like, comment, and share.